healthy potatoes.
Underground, we love potatoes, lovely golden brown. King Edward's a piper, a golden wonder too.
Hello everybody, hello children, welcome to this online field trip. I'm Sam and today we're in Lincolnshire in the East Midlands. Now we've been to this area before to learn all about broccoli, and the reason why we've been here is this is some of the most fertile land in the UK. There are loads of farms around here growing all sorts of fruit and vegetables. Today we're here at Branston Potato Packing Factory to learn all about, you've guessed it, potatoes. This is our guide for today. This is David. David
Hello.
is a potato expert, so much so, David, that he advises potato growers on how to get the most out of their crops, which must mean you know a lot about potatoes, David.
Well, I hope I do.
The children are going to put you to the test today.
I think they will.
They really are. First things first, where are we in the factory?
We're at the moment in the quality control area. This is where we bring the potatoes in to check them for disease and damage. All the defects that possibly could have happened while they were in the soil or in the store.
This is a really important place then. So how long has the factory been here for?
Branston has been packing potatoes for almost 45 years.
Wow, it's a very, very long time. So how many potatoes would you deal with, say, every year here?
Every year we are handling up to 100,000 tonnes of potatoes.
Whoa! 100,000 tonnes, that is crazy. So how many bags of potatoes would that be? I bet you don't even know, do you? Bags and bags and bags. Okay, what will we find out today when we take a look around the factory?
We're going to learn a little bit about how potatoes grow, how there are so many different varieties of potatoes, how we handle the potatoes, how we wash them, how we grade them, how we put them into bags, and then finally how we also make electricity out of potatoes.
Wow, that's going to be an amazing field trip. I can't wait to get stuck into this. Let's find out who we have joining us on today's online field trip. Then let's meet our classes. First of all, let's head over to John Henry Newman Academy, where Miss Welton's class is taking part. Hello, children.
Hello.
Let's go over now to Links Primary School, where Miss Hayward and Mrs. Marsh's class is taking part. Hello, children.
Hello.
Nice and loud there. And then finally, let's go to Treadworth Junior School, where Miss Elmer's class is taking part. Hello, children.
Hello.
Fantastic. It's really great to have you all watching and learning with us today, children. It really is going to be an exciting field trip. I think, first of all, David, we need to find out how a potato grows. So could you show us that?
I can. Potatoes grow from seed, but in the case of potatoes, it is a seed potato. These are special potatoes. They've been grown free from disease, free from viruses, to enable you to grow a healthy plant.
Okay, so normally when we plant plants, it's a tiny little seed, but that would be the equivalent of planting a tiny seed.
Yes.
Okay.
So we plant the potato into the soil, the seed potato. This produces a plant with leaves and stems. And under the soil, inside the ground, we find the potatoes. So there's the mother, the seed potato, and coming off the stems, we have the next generation of potatoes growing under the soil.
Fantastic. So how do you know how many potatoes are going to be grown, or does it just depend on the size of the potatoes that are underneath there?
Different varieties will have different numbers of potatoes, and we also check to see what size they are. We go into the field and dig up a sample of the potatoes. We take those back for quality checks and for sizing.
Fantastic. Well, potatoes are a really important food to us in the UK, aren't they?
They are. We eat potatoes 3 or 4 times a week, and of course there are so many different ways of eating potatoes. It could be roast, could be mash, could be chips,
could be baked.
Could be baked.
One of my favourites. Yeah, of course. 3 times a week, that's a lot of potatoes we get through, isn't it? Okay, I know that many of you have been learning about potatoes in your classroom already. I'm wondering whether we can have a few facts to wow David. So let's go over to our school now. Let's go over to John Henry Newman Academy to find out what they've been learning.
Hi, my name is Khalil.
It takes about 4 months for potatoes to grow, and the biggest potato is grown by a 66-year-old man from Nazareth.
Fantastic, what a great fact. Keneal, that's such a great fact. So it takes about 4 months for a potato to grow, and the biggest potato was grown by a 66-year-old man.
He was, and it weighed 5 kilos, which is 15 times bigger than this large potato here.
15 times the size of that. Well, you'd have to have a big oven to put that in if you wanted to bake it, wouldn't you?
You'd need a big family.
And you'd be eating chips for weeks and weeks and weeks, if not months, wouldn't you? What a great fact. Thank you so much. Can we get another fact from Miss Welton's class?
Hi, my name is Morocco. My potato fact is in 1996, potatoes were the first vegetable to be taken and grown in space.
What a great fact. So in 1996, David, so not that long ago, a potato was taken up into space and grown in space.
It was, yeah. Little baby seed potatoes were taken up, and using the light from the sun, they were able to grow in space.
It was the first food that was grown in space. Why would they take potatoes? Is it because they're quite easy to grow?
I think they can grow quite quickly, and they're very good at using the sunlight that was available. And very quickly you're getting some food. You don't have to process the product. You can just cook it and eat it.
Great, what a fantastic fact. Let's get another amazing fact from John Henry Newman Academy.
Hi, my name is Millie. My fact is, a long time ago, Louis XVI, King France, wore potatoes on his clothes. He thought it looked very fancy.
What a great fact. Thank you so much. So a long time ago, Louis XVI wore potatoes on his clothes because they thought that they looked really fancy. Would they be actually potatoes, David?
No, they wouldn't have been the potatoes. They actually picked the flowers that grow on the potato plants, and they put the flowers into their clothes and dresses.
Oh, okay. No, I was imagining kind of a nice flower necklace, potato necklace, or a potato earrings would be quite nice.
Yes.
Fantastic facts. Thank you so much, children. You've clearly been learning all about potatoes. It's time to learn a little bit more now, because this is our first video, and this is all about potatoes and how they grow.
How do potatoes grow? People have been growing and eating potatoes for thousands of years. Originally, potatoes came from the Andes Mountains in South America. Now, here in the UK, they are one of our favourite foods. We like to eat them boiled, mashed, baked, or roasted. Potatoes don't grow from a simple seed. Instead, they grow from a seed potato that looks like this. The seed potato has small sprouts on it ready to grow. First, this machine has to prepare the soil in the field. It mounds the soil up into ridges. Next, this machine removes the stones. This is to stop the stones from squashing the potatoes into funny shapes as they grow underground. This machine plants the seed potatoes into the ridges and covers them over with soil to protect them. The potatoes are planted in the spring, so the warmth of the sun can help them grow. The planted potato begins to grow roots. Next, the new shoots reach up through the soil towards the sun, and soon there are green leaves above ground. The roots grow in the soil. This is where the potatoes will grow. With good soil, plenty of water and sunshine, the plants have everything they need. The farmer leaves the potato plant to grow until they are ready to harvest.
So we're in a different part of the factory now. This place is called the pack house, and it's where the potatoes come through this wall after they've been through a very special process the other side. So what happens the other side of this wall here, David?
Well, the other side of the wall is where the washers are placed. So the potatoes are being washed and then moving on to the grading table. But before that, we're having to warm the potatoes up for 3 or 4 days before we can handle them.
Okay, so why do they need to be warmed up?
They need to be warmed up because in the farmer's store, they're being held at around a temperature of around 3 degrees centigrade to keep them fresh, to stop them from sprouting. But if we handle potatoes at that temperature, we could bruise them, we could damage them.
Okay, fantastic. So what's happening here? I can see the team are sorting the potatoes.
Yeah, well, once we've warmed them up to around 10 degrees centigrade, we can then size them into the various bands that we need. We then wash them, and our grading team here is then doing a last final selection. It's pulling out any damaged potatoes, any green potatoes that we don't want to sell to you, our customers, and they're then going further along into the process.
Yeah, nobody likes a green potato or a bruised potato, do they?
No.
And then I can see that there's this big chute here. So are the potatoes going up the chute?
Yeah, the potatoes are going up the elevator, and from the elevator they're then moving in to the weighers, which is where we then weigh the potatoes.
That's a fantastic piece of machinery. We have another one here. Can we take a closer look?
Yeah,
okay.
we can.
Wow, so the potatoes are being fed into these little slots.
Yeah, the potatoes that have been washed are falling into the weighing unit, and they can move into one of 16 cups where they're weighed, and the combination of weights that is needed to give us the pack size that we're looking for is selected. So in this case, if we are packing for 2.5 kilos, it will look for the combination of weights in each cup to give us exactly that weight.
It's amazing how it gets it so right. How many of these do you have in the packing store here?
We have 9 packing lines. The most busiest packing lines in this factory will be packing up to 800,000 potatoes every day.
800,000, that is absolutely crazy. So once it goes down there, they're being packed into plastic bags, aren't they? Should we take a closer look?
I think here you can see the potatoes are falling down the tube. They're falling down the tube into the plastic bag. Then immediately the top of the plastic bag is being sealed by heat, and the bag is being taken away on the conveyor. Its weight is being checked, and then they're being packed into trays.
Okay, so that's all happening around the corner. The trays are being packed.
We are packing 1 bag every second off that line.
That is a lot of potatoes, so 1 bag every second, and this is what it looks like once it's packed, is it?
Yes, we're packing them into a tray. There's an example of the potatoes that have just been packed, and this is how they will arrive at your nearest supermarket.
Fantastic, so quite possibly in, say, about a week's time, or how long will it be before that's on the...
Probably tomorrow.
Oh, wow!
These may well be in a supermarket near you.
And you may be boiling them for your tea in a couple of days' time. Thank you so much, David. Okay, it's time for our next video now, and this is all about what happens to the potatoes once they leave the farm.
Potatoes, from field to fork. Potatoes are harvested by big machines. The machines scoop them up out of the ridges where they have been growing in the ground. They are gently shaken to remove the soil and then put into big wooden boxes. Each box holds 1 ton of potatoes. That's the same weight as a small car. They are brought in from the field to the pack house in big lorries. Some of them are cooled down and put into cold storage to be saved for later in the year. This allows us to have potatoes all year round. The cold store is a large warehouse full of big wooden boxes. This one can store 11,000 tons of potatoes. They are kept in the dark at a temperature of 3 degrees Celsius to stop them going green or sprouting. It's a bit like putting them to sleep in a great big fridge. The potatoes can stay in cold storage for several months until it's time to use them. When the time comes to wake them up, they are moved into another building and gradually warmed to around 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. Then they are taken to the factory to be packed. The potatoes are tipped into big washers. A washer like this can clean 45,000 potatoes every hour. Here they are gently sloshed around with lots of water to get the soil off. The muddy water is cleaned and recycled, so it can be used over and over again. Next, the potatoes are sorted into different sizes so that they can be packed into different bags. Then any bad or damaged ones are taken out. These are called outgrades. Some of the outgrades are used to make electricity in an anaerobic digestion plant. This electricity is then used to power the machinery in the factory. Some are taken away by local farmers to feed their cows. The sorted potatoes are then weighed into the correct amounts. The machine forms the bags and seals the potatoes into them. It can pack around 3,500 bags every hour. Some potatoes are put loose into trays, so that you can choose exactly the ones you want in the store. Whether baked and served with beans or mashed and eaten with gravy, there are lots of tasty ways to enjoy potatoes.
Wow, well, we hope you were watching that video very carefully, because if you were, you'd have learned that the potatoes that aren't quite good enough for eating go to a very special machine called an anaerobic digestion plant, where they're used to make organic energy. How does that happen, David?
Yes, all the damaged ones, all the green potatoes, we take to our anaerobic digestion plant. There we chop them up into little bits. We put them in a huge tank. We allow them to ferment using bacteria. And all the starch, all the energy in the potato is converted into a methane gas. That methane gas we can then use to drive a generator to produce electricity, which we can then use to power our factory.
Oh, potatoes are very, very useful indeed. We are learning so much about potatoes, not just about this amazing anaerobic digestion plant. We've also learned what kind of vegetable a potato is, how they grow, and what happens once they're harvested. So I think, David, that our children may have a few questions for you now, because they've learned so much. So let's go over to Links Primary School and get some questions for David. Do we have any questions, Miss Hayward and Mrs. Marsh?
May I come and stand in front of the microphone? That's it.
How many potatoes do you grow on your farm?
Great question. How many potatoes do you grow on your farm, David?
Well, we grow around 600 hectares of potatoes, which is 25,000 tonnes of potatoes. It's a lot of potatoes.
That's a lot of potatoes, more than we can eat anyway. Great question. Let's get another one from Links Primary.
That's it.
Why are potatoes different shapes and sizes?
That's a really good question. I want to know that one. Why are potatoes so many different shapes and sizes?
Well, it's partly genetic. All the potatoes varieties are slightly different, so they have different genetics. Some grow very long, some grow round, some grow funny shapes. But it's also affected by the soil they grow in. If the soil is very lumpy, then the potatoes will also often be very lumpy as well.
Oh, okay. So if it hits a stone or something, it will work its way around.
So we make a lot of effort to ensure the soil is very soft, very fine when we plant the seed tubers in the spring.
Fantastic. Really great questions from Links Primary. Let's go to Treadworth Junior School now for some questions for David.
How do potatoes get diseases such as potato blight?
That's a really good question. So how do potatoes get diseases like potato blight?
Potato blight spreads through the air. It's a fungus disease and it spreads through the air, landing on the leaves of the plant. If the leaves are very wet, if it's been raining a lot, or if it's very humid, then the disease can become established on the leaf and start to infect the plant, kill the leaves, start rotting the tubers. Fortunately, most of our varieties are fairly resistant, and we are able to sometimes spray products on the leaves to protect them from those spores that cause the disease.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, let's get another question from Treadworth Junior School.
Why do potatoes have skin?
Oh, that's a really good question. So why do potatoes have a skin, David?
It's a bit like me or you. They have a skin to keep the water in and to keep disease out. A potato is 80% water.
Wow, okay.
So again, if it didn't have a skin, then it would very quickly become dehydrated and no longer be able to survive from 1 year to the next.
It's my favourite part of a potato. I love baked potato. So the skin is my absolute favourite. Do we have one more question from Treadworth Junior School?
When are the potatoes ready to pick?
That's a really good question. So when are the potatoes ready to pick, David?
Well, when the potatoes are ready to pick, when they get to the right size. So, for example, we may use a little sizing square, and we will dig the potatoes up in the field and measure the size. And when we find that the sample is of the correct dimensions, then we will tell the farmer.
It's got like a little ruler down each side, has it?
So when it gets to maybe 50 millimetres, 60 millimetres in cross-section, then we will tell the farmer to harvest the crop and bring it into the factory. Some varieties, you may also check the amount of water in the potato and the amount of starch, particularly if they're going to be used for chips or roast potatoes.
Oh, fascinating. Great questions, everybody. Fascinating. Let's find out more about potatoes now, just when we thought we'd found out everything we need to know, because we have an array of potatoes in front of us. So, David, will you talk us through them? And children, you should have some potatoes in your class, so this is a good time to pass them around. Take a look at the different varieties, have a little feel and notice the different shapes and sizes of them. So what do we have here, David?
Well, these are the dirty ones. This is how they come in off the farm. But these are the washed baking potatoes. So these are varieties of potato that only produce maybe 6 or 7 potatoes on each plant. But that means that those potatoes grow really quickly and they grow really big. So they make ideal potatoes for jackets and have a creamy, smooth texture.
Lovely. Yeah. I always pick a massive potato for jacket potato, I do, and fill it with everything. Okay, and these ones are red in front.
Yes, these are red. These have like a red pigment in the skin, but inside they are still white. We have some varieties that are also pink, even purple inside, but it is not unusual to have varieties with a pink skin.
Oh, I'd like to try a pink potato. That'd be nice.
And we have one here which is not just pink, but also white as well. So in the area of the potato where the sprouts develop, you have a pink part, and in the rest it's white.
What would you use that for?
This is King Edward.
Right.
This variety is over 100 years old.
Wow.
And it's still one of the best varieties for making roast potatoes.
Oh, roast potatoes on a Sunday. Very nice indeed.
At the front we have a few baby and salad potatoes. These are varieties that grow to only a small size, but on each plant you may have 20, 30, 40 even potatoes. So you get lots and lots of small, sweet, crisp, fresh potatoes. These are excellent. Just pour them tip them into water, boil them, eat them.
Lovely. Maybe mix them with some mayo to make like a potato
Yeah,
salad,
make
the
a
smaller
potato salad.
ones. Lovely.
Eat them with fish. Over here, we have an imposter. This is the sweet potato. Now, sweet potatoes, although they look like potatoes, are from a completely different family of plants. It's like comparing an apple with an orange. So these grow from swollen roots rather than swollen stems like potatoes.
I never knew that, David. I honestly thought they were a proper potato, just a bit sweeter in taste.
No, they're a completely different family.
Fascinating. And what do we have here lastly?
And the last one is the Maris Piper. The Maris Piper has been grown for almost 50 years now. It's the most popular variety in the UK. It's has a bigger area than any other variety. And it is still the favourite for the fish and chip shops and great for making chips.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, David. And of course, chips aren't that great for you, but if you choose a potato that isn't deep fried, then it's really, really good for you. It's a starchy food that gives you energy. It's a source of vitamin B6, which is good for your immune system, and a source of vitamin C as well, which is good for healthy bones. So as long as you don't eat too many chips and you choose different ways to eat potatoes, and you're doing well. We've almost come to the end of this online field trip. One last question for you though, David. What is the best thing about being a potato expert?
Well, it means I've been able to travel the world to see how potatoes grow in different countries. I've been to the home of the potatoes in South America in the Andes and visited the potato growers there as well. And they grow an enormous number of different varieties. We grow around 50 varieties in Great Britain. They may have 50, 100 varieties in one field.
Fantastic. I think you've got a great job. Thank you so much as well for sharing your knowledge. Let's find out what the children have learned, because I know we have learned so much. So let's go to John Henry Newman Academy and find out what you've learned in Miss Welton's class today.
Hello, my name is Imogen and I learnt how potatoes grow.
Oh, Imogen has learned how potatoes grow because you had that amazing model to show us, that nice fluffy model.
Good.
Thank you so much. Let's find out what Links Primary School have learnt today.
My name is Tajini.
My name is Tajini. Hello, my name is Tajini and potatoes have 80% of water inside them.
That is a great fact, actually. I didn't know this one. So 80% of a potato is water.
Exactly, yes, yeah, 80%.
Very, very good fact there that we've learnt. Treadworth Junior School, what have you learnt today?
Hello, my name is Olivia and I've learned when you plant the potatoes, you put a potato seed and they have roots.
That's really, really good fact. So you plant a little potato as a seed and that grows roots and grows a whole new potato plant.
And it all happens again. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much for taking part, children. It really has been great learning all about potatoes with you. I think I've learned just as much as the children, David. Don't forget, if you'd like to take part in a school farm to fork field trip, you can do that. Everything you need to know is on the Eat Happy website. So don't forget to register for that because it is really loads and loads of fun. Look at the children on the screen right now. They're having lots of fun visiting a farm or a participating producer. But from today in Lincolnshire, myself and David and all the potatoes, not that they can speak, it's a goodbye. Goodbye, John Henry Newman. Goodbye, Links Primary School.
Goodbye.
And goodbye, Treadworth Junior School.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.